I like boobies as much as the next man, but there was this program on TV recently where it was parents that were continuing to breastfeed.
And beyond the age where children should not be breastfed.
Well, yeah, and it was reminding me of that episode, not the episode, the sketch in Little Britain with the bitty thing with the guy.
I'm vaguely aware of it, but I didn't actually watch Little Britain.
Right. Okay. Well,
I do know of it.
Yeah. Basically, like, you had people that were like, they were breastfeeding their toddler, well, not toddlers. Let's go, like, they just newborn children and stuff. But some of them were continuing on until, like the kids were able to talk to their parents. That's not right.
Could I have a booby, please, mother?
Exactly. That's not in that tone, but that's what was being said.
I spoke in that tone at that age.
And but
I used to get made fun of at school for sounding too posh.
You were quite happy that I came along then.
Well, no, I mean before that. I mean primary school. I remember they used to make fun of me like, what was it, that "how now brown cow" thing. I used to say that so poshly.
How now brown cow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this one woman said that her kid would self-wean. Like, it was
Beg your pardon?
Self-wean, like they would wean themselves off, like, the breast milk or whatever.
Right.
But she was 8 years old. 8.
Ugh.
Like
she loves the boob.
Oh, it just seems so wrong. I was curious to see where you stood on this. Is it like, do you think 3 months is acceptable when they've got teeth, when they can talk to you? There was one mum that, because she was continuing to do this, the husband thought, what, I'll join in the action. And so he was joining it.
Goodness sake!
I just thought,
why did you think I would have an opinion on this?
It just seemed the appropriate thing to bring up.
I think those women need their husband's attention more.
I mean, like, surely there's something must go through their mind that this is going to fuck my kid up, like, well and truly. Some of them, it wasn't a case of, like, basically they didn't have the balls to just stop the kids, at the appropriate time. Some of them thought that, they must have enjoyed it. They must have enjoyed the ritual or whatever, and so it's almost like they continued the trend, and the kid didn't really have much of a choice initially, I suppose.
It's those kinds of parents that never upset their children and always give in to their every need. It's like, I remember once I had this screaming kid in where I was working, and the mother just refused everything that the person wanted, and then they both left, and this old lady turned to me and said, "Isn't it so nice to see that a parent disciplining their child?" And I said, "Yes, I wanted to applaud." Because
giving her something for free.
9 out of 10 of every other one will just give in, and they shouldn't.
It's true.
Yeah, so stop letting them suck your boobs longer than they should.
Braingo Hearty Gaming Podcast, your fortnightly fix of psychopathic Brits talking shit about boobies. How does that sound? Is that about right?
You had that written down.
Gaming podcast.
You could not have had that written down.
Gaming podcast.
Yes, it is. So why the hell were you telling me about breastfeeding?
Shits and giggles. I don't know. Yeah. I felt like I was subjected to that show, so I had to subject you.
I'm going to keep bringing it up all the way through this.
You do that. I'm Blighty, and I'm joined by Flick. Say
Who's
hello.
Disgusted at you.
Disgusted at the boobies.
No.
What are you, gay?
Just the children, 8-year-olds. It's horrible.
Yes, it is quite horrible. So,
although it's quite funny if you're asking a posh. Never mind. Okay. Move on.
See, now you've got the fixation.
Well, I can't help it. I have a disease.
Yeah, that's true. You are diseased. You have the Skyromitis. It's a yeast
infection. I have OCD-itis.
So, yes, it's been quite a I would say it's been quite an eventful couple of weeks since the last one.
It's been so eventful we'll have nothing to talk about because we've both been addicted to various games.
But at least this time, hopefully, we're not just going to be sitting there going, Skyrim,
True, I'm kind of weaning myself off of that.
Sort of jiggling about like a kid in a shop that needs to pee.
I'm on an RPG methadone program to try and get over Skyrim.
Is that involving...
You go into lesser RPGs and try and find stuff you like about them, and then you forget about that.
So
filled with nerds.
So what's a lesser RPG then? What's the next tier down?
We'll get onto that. We'll just,
So usually we start this thing off with what we've been playing.
Yes.
So what have you been playing the last fortnight? This is going to be a bit obvious, but go ahead anyway.
Well, I have been playing Skyrim, although not as much as perhaps I would, because there's other things.
Have you really? Have you been playing Skyrim?
I have, just a little bit.
Just a little.
I have almost finished the main plot, and I've cleared up most of the main side quests, like Dark Brotherhood, Thieves, and whatever.
You mean like doing the main sort of the guilds and stuff?
Yeah, they're not called guilds in it, but essentially they are. They might as well be.
So, but you say that, but in reality, there's like hundreds of like mini side quests just by bumping into people in shops or out and about in the.
And there's repeatable ones for those guilds as well.
That doesn't count.
Why doesn't that count?
Nobody likes repeatable quests.
No, but they've made it so at least you can keep doing the thing you like. Because like when you got to the end of the Dark Brotherhood quest in Oblivion, well, that was it.
You could still go around randomly murdering people. I did.
Oh no, actually no, they did have the repeatable Night Mother thing there. I forgot about that. But it wasn't as fun as the repeatable quest they've added to this one. So yes, I am still playing that. And as I said, almost finished it, but not quite, the main story. But the main story really isn't that interesting, to be honest.
Any particular reason why, without spoiling it?
Well, you know how there's this big, huge war going on, and that's kind of how the game opens. The Imperials versus Stormcloaks.
I haven't really touched on the main story.
Yeah, no. That war is going on in Skyrim, but the main story doesn't really touch on it either.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's kind of optional along with everything else that you take aside, etc.
It's the backdrop, right?
Yeah,
okay.
So the main story isn't really to do with anything other than you and dragons.
Oh.
That's it.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's not in depth, I would say. I mean, you still get to kill a lot of dragons.
Everybody likes that. Do you know what I prefer killing other than the dragons, though?
Bears.
Fucking bears.
Fucking bears. Yeah.
Fucking bears.
You can link to your happy fun time bear video on your blog.
And I will.
That is one of the things, though, because they shouldn't be as hard as they are. And there's a lot of enemies that shouldn't be as hard as they are, because the scaling is not right in it.
Perhaps there'll be a mod that changes that.
Oh, there will be, of course there will. But really, I'm surprised they've kept it that way. Because you can find enemies that two-shot you. So you have to keep on hitting and running, regardless of the type of class you're playing.
By the time that this goes up, there's probably a chance that my playthrough, episode 11, I think it is, will be up. That will show you a prime example of how that situation pans out.
You taking on those two things last night, yeah?
Yes.
Well, we'll just say things, because then that will blackmail people into going and having a little look.
But the way that I did it is a prime example of how you have to go about some fights.
Those things were amazing. Those things that you killed. It's such an amazing thing.
The thing is, while that's annoying, I really did enjoy that fight. It felt so much more sort of manic, epic.
Which was a semi-random dungeon as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it's totally random.
They've put more thought into those places.
They have, yes.
The dungeons and things. But we're not going to talk about Skyrim for a whole podcast again.
No.
Because we've weaned ourselves off of that.
Yeah, honest.
So I'm playing through Captain America Super Soldier on the 3DS. I'm only playing it here and there because it's a 3DS game, so I refuse to play it in anything other than 3D, and that gives me headaches. So I'm only kind of playing a stage here and then playing a stage there.
Your eyes are going to drop out. Your blood is just going to start pouring out of them. Probably. And they're just going to... It's Capcom's plan, I'm telling you. It's Capcom's plan.
Yeah, it's Capcom, even though it's Sega and Nintendo, because Capcom is to blame for everything.
Yeah, Capcom want you to...
It's Capcom's fault that 8-year-olds get breastfed.
Subliminal. It's subliminal.
Subliminal. Okay. I'm doing the review, so as I'm playing it, I'm kind of thinking of what I might say about it. And one of the things I was going to say was it's kind of you can pick up and play because it saves regularly and it's done in stages. But then I realised it's a 3DS game. You need to be sitting still to play it, otherwise it looks bad because the two images overlap and look horrible.
I think that it looks horrible anyway, and that's when I stood perfectly still.
You looked at one for a minute, not even a minute. You can't judge.
I fucking can. I don't like the 3DS.
And the fighting system is good, but it is just ripped off from Arkham City. I'm doing the review, so as I'm playing it, I'm kind of thinking of what I might say about it. And one of the things I was going to say was it's kind of you can pick up and play because it saves regularly and it's done in stages. But then I realised it's a 3DS game. You need to be sitting still to play it, otherwise it looks bad because the two images overlap and look horrible.
I think that it looks horrible anyway, and that's when I stood perfectly still.
You looked at one for a minute, not even a minute. You can't judge.
I fucking can. I don't like the 3DS.
And the fighting system is good, but it is just ripped off from Arkham City.
So you're saying it's just sort of free roaming sort of beat 'em up style of game?
Kind of. Like I'm not sure if I want to criticise it for ripping it off come the review because it's such a good way to do a open combat type thing that I wish more games did use it because it does do so well. So do you mark it down for shamelessly ripping something off, or do you applaud it because it's still a good way to play a game? Yeah, that's right. I'm still playing stuff, so you're going to have to sit there and listen. Saints Row 3, which I have played, which you have not played yet.
Nope, because I'm skint.
Yeah. So can't really say much about it then. I really liked...
Wow, that was exciting.
No, I was moving on, but staying on topic.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of ways to say it without spoiling anything. Like, you watched the E3 video, didn't you, of that opening mission with the plane, etc.?
Yeah.
Were you aware that it had a character death in it?
In that opening thing?
Yeah. You saw someone die.
Someone got shot in the plane before it all started going down and stuff.
No. So it happens off screen, but there is a death in it.
Oh.
In the tutorial. And they kind of showed that at E3, although it didn't seem like it because it's so underwhelming. And then the characters are kind of talking like this person's died. And you're, what? They actually died? What the hell? And that's in the tutorial mission. And then they introduce a new villain and he's gone after the tutorial missions as well.
Oh.
It's like they've made absolutely no effort with the plot at all, and it's terrible, the plot. But playing it is still good fun. But I kind of wish it had the over-the-top comic book funny stuff that the second one had, whereas now it is still funny occasionally, but they've made no effort with the story, and it feels really, really, really half-arsed.
I never really found like Saints Row 2 story to be all that interesting. I mean, I still always say that the Grand Theft Auto series has better story, better writing, better plot.
Well, yeah, Nico Bellic's story was one of the best the Grand Theft Auto games has had.
But, yeah. But the gameplay for Saints Row has been better. Yeah,
and co-op I think will be better. Oh, and adding to the list of things I don't like, there's only one fighting style, so I can't go all kung fu on their asses.
Oh, why did they change that?
There's no katana, unless you count the dildo katana.
Well, I do, so...
Oh, okay. Apparently they said that, well, there's a new skeletal structure for all the characters, so they decided to just flesh out one fighting style rather than adding more. But a lot of that reeks of they've got DLC waiting. I'm surprised if there is a DLC regarding the dead character who dies in the tutorials, one that adds more fighting styles, because they've got the same crap season pass thing that Gears of War 3 does, so they've held stuff back. That's what a season pass is.
Basically, yeah.
It's an admission that they've held back content to charge you twice. And yet people are thinking, oh, season pass, that's a really good deal. Of course it's not.
Like, I was actually talking about this like 20 minutes ago about microtransactions in games, and that's basically what they're doing with DLC and stuff.
You were talking to someone else about gaming behind my back, you whore.
I was, yep. I'm unfaithful.
I'll just slink back to the gaming cave.
I've got my gaming bit on the side.
Is this where we further gross people out with this analogy by saying it's your brother?
No, it wasn't. It was Vicky.
Oh. But she's a girl.
Yeah, girls play games too.
No, she was just
They do.
nodding and saying aha to let you...
She's playing Tetris right now. Tetris constitutes a game.
Okay. How many proper games has she played?
I don't have off the top of my head, but she was a fan of the Silent Hill franchise, more so than Resident Evil. What else?
My sister likes Red Dead Redemption and Assassin's Creed, but that's purely because it has horses in it.
Anyway, this has gone well off topic.
I only have one more thing left to say that I'm playing at the moment.
Right.
Oh wait, other than very quickly saying I went back to Disgaea 4 now because DLC's starting.
I noticed by the video on your YouTube channel.
I have, like I did for the third one, I'm going to do all the DLC because it has funny cutscenes that usually break the fourth wall. Like this first set has the heroes and heroine from the second game, and they plug it in their conversations.
That seems kind of like mind-fucking.
Yeah, it breaks the fourth wall regularly. I did actually have another talking point about Disgaea 4 about they have a running anime manga type gag where two characters keep on referring to this character in it as a tsundere, which is a anime cliche. It's the character that acts coldly and doesn't want friends, etc., but eventually opens their heart and warms to everybody and turns out they were a nice guy all along.
It's Vegeta.
Yeah, kind of. It's like the good guy who's also a bit of a bastard. So yeah, it's Vegeta. He's a tsundere.
I've got that image of him in that pink Hawaiian shirt now.
That says bad boy on it. Ugh.
Oh, if that doesn't just... no, I'm not even going to go there.
Earlier this year, I went and read the Dragon Ball Z manga just because I never had. I'd only ever seen the anime, and he did have that shirt in the manga as well from what I remember, but obviously you couldn't tell what colour it was supposed to be. It's black and white.
What were they thinking?
Yeah, Toriyama making him all camp.
That's his softer side.
The last thing...
It's over 9,000 shades of pink.
The last thing on my list is something I know is also on your list, so we can kind of branch into it when you get there, which is Assassin's Creed Revelations. But you can go through anything else that you're playing first.
Right, okay. So I'll do my little list now, then, shall I?
Yes, you can tick it off as you go.
My list hasn't been very long. The last 2 weeks, the only thing that I've done Skyrim, but I've not played actually all that much. Because of doing the playthrough that's going up on my channel, I've just been sort of trying to do stints of like where I feel like a section is sort of flowing with quests and stuff. Like there's a video going to be going up later where I'm doing like a sort of Mage Guild sort of quest where we go for a little exploration in a cave and things happen and stuff. And
a field day with
field day. That's
pretty wizards.
Yes, wizards field day.
You realise how painful a playthrough of Skyrim is going to be.
Yes,
right?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm determined. I'm a sadist.
It does have that thing where I don't turn off quests once I have them. I have to track every single quest I'm doing, so I feared going to new towns because I knew as soon as I did, you'd see a conversation or something and start triggering more.
Yep. You want to finish everything possible off before you move on to the next location. And I have that mentality too, to a certain extent.
But you can't in that because it sends you all over the joint.
Exactly. And I realised that quite early on, that I would probably end up committing suicide before the end of it. So, yeah, and then I've had a few sort of... I'm not even sure specifically what the problem is, but the computer decided to have a bit of a crashing frenzy for a while, and so there was...
I think it was to do with RAM, so now it seems okay.
Yeah, it seems all right now.
Unless this podcast gets cut short.
Don't you fucking jinx it. Don't you fucking dare.
And then we can assume that something went a teensy bit wrong.
Yeah, don't. I've got everything crossed, including my testicles. So other than that, I've played a little bit of Assassin's Creed, and by that again, the only thing that I've done it to any extent is the multiplayer for the.
Have you actually started the main story at all?
I did, yeah.
Oh, you have, yeah.
I've played for maybe about an hour,
Yeah.
but then like I've been busy, and I've outside of gaming, I've been doing a lot more guitar practice and stuff, trying to finally push on into the next grade and stuff. So
Yeah, so rather than play single player of games that you have, you watch programs about breastfeeding.
yeah, that's about right. Yeah,
Interesting.
there's nothing wrong with boobies.
Yeah.
You see, there's no argument there. So yeah, that's been about it. I haven't really.
If they're latched onto an 8-year-old, I would say that there's something.
For fuck's sake, let it die.
You brought it up. I will not let it drop. What were you talking about? You were talking about Revelations, which I also wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, you can't talk about the plot.
I can't really talk about the plot. Multiplayer-wise, this is obviously where we're going to start.
We're going to start talking a lot. Yeah.
The single player, really quickly, the single player is like, it seems all right so far. I'm kind of getting into it. It's there's some weird mechanics that they've added. I don't think it's really spoiling anything here, telling people that they've added is that like a hook? What's it called? A hook blade. It just feels unnecessary, and it just seems almost like, well, why add this addition to climb a little bit higher when
and also to ride clotheslines.
Well, yeah, and we'll get to that in a second. That they've added the addition that you go down the zip lines with this thing, but this would have been absolutely ideal for them to put that into the multiplayer. But they decided, you know what, we're not bothered doing that.
Even though they do have the hook blade in the multiplayer, because you still have the extended
You
jump.
still see them doing the extended reach and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. But, and actually, in the multiplayer, you can still do where in Brotherhood added those things, the lamps, if you jump onto them, they swing you round the side of the building.
Yeah.
With the hook blade, if you press B as you jump towards one of them,
you just fly forwards, yeah.
You can still do that in multiplayer as well. So the only thing that's missing is the lines. And I think the reason for that is because the new stages that they've added, I mean, there's a bunch of old ones, but the new ones are very small. So there isn't really any room for them.
I know why they've done that, though, after playing for a while. I mean, obviously they got the old ones in because, well, it was... Let's be honest, it was easy. It was the cheap option. But I do like some of those maps, and it's nice to have something familiar to fall back on. Better than them releasing it as DLC.
I like them better than the new maps.
But the new maps are designed for the new way that the game works, because it feels like they've tried to slow the pace down and force you into stalking people for longer. Which is fine if everybody has the mentality that they're supposed to be playing properly, where when you're being hunted, you're trying to be secretive and hidden. But the way that people have now figured out that if you sprint around like an idiot, the other team aren't going to get any points at all.
Yeah, because now the hunters start on the lowest possible score and work their way up, rather than starting on the highest possible score and working their way down when they act loud.
Pretty much. So in order to keep up with somebody that's sprinting around like an idiot, you have to move pretty fast, and it takes you straight out of being in like incognito status, and the amount of points you get for the kill rapidly drop down. Counter that with the fact that you can now contest the kills, further drops the score down, means that it's so much easier if you're playing as the hunted, rather than sitting in a nice little group of people talking about beards or
Templaring.
Templar.
Killing foreign people.
Yep. Killing Johnny Foreigner. Instead of doing that, sprint around to the rooftops, and you will end up with a better score for the match. Yeah.
Yeah, they have given too much strength to the hunted side to screw up the hunters. And the contested kill thing, the fact that it lowers the even if the person has spent all that time stalking to get the full focus and incognito, then if it's contested at the last second, they get basic discrete points.
And the contested thing is so buggy. I mean, sometimes it feels like when you do it, you should definitely get it in time, and sometimes you don't think you should have got it. Yeah. And the other time round, somebody will contest something that you've done that you're thinking like they had their back to me. There was absolutely no way, because you can't get a contested kill unless you're face on. That's basically the rule. Yeah.
That's how it differs from a stun, because if someone attempts a stun from behind, you can actually counter it and kill them.
Yes.
Like you could in Brotherhood, that was in that.
So, like, my closing thoughts on it are that I preferred Brotherhood. For the multiplayer.
I also did prefer it in that. They might still patch this one, though. You never know. It still has the same type of players, so either way, you're still having to put up with people who kill steal or act like idiots in the hunted round.
What we need to do to appreciate it, and hopefully to get other people to appreciate it, is to try and get more people like actively playing it with us. Get some people on Xbox Live, get them actually playing as a team, and you'll probably find it'll be a lot more fun.
We do have some requests on some of the videos I've been putting up of people joining us.
If you're listening to this, and if you play it, and if you've got it for the Xbox and you want to play, add me, and we'll see if we can sort something out.
As long as you play properly.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
That's good words to live your life by. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Or else we'll kill you.
Yeah. And don't breastfeed your child until they're 8 years old.
Seriously? Are you going to bring that up every 5 minutes?
It needs to be said.
Right, okay.
I remember hinting to you about something, and it's something I noticed, which is new to Revelations, wasn't in Brotherhood, multiplayer I'm talking about, which is actually, when you think about it, utterly pointless for more than an obvious reason.
I never quite caught on to what you were talking about when we were playing, so I'm interested to hear what this is about.
So, well, think of the differences between the multiplayer in Brotherhood and Revelations. It's something they've added for a particular reason that they kind of brandished in their preview videos of it, saying, oh, look, now you can do this. So, do you know what that is?
Taunting?
Well done. I was going to say people playing along at home should pause at this point to guess, but you got it first fucking try.
I are a winner.
But do you understand why it's pointless for more reasons than the fact that taunting in general is pointless?
Well, because in doing the taunt, you end up... You can't see the person doing the taunt, can you?
Exactly, because when you die, the death animation slow-mos and the screen goes bright white.
Yeah, you're stuck watching essentially the kill. You don't get to see what happens 2 seconds
You will never
afterwards.
see what after, so it's made taunts are utterly redundant. You will never see someone taunt you.
The best taunt that's ever been put into any game ever is the way that they incorporated it into Splinter Cell. Because the way that the voice system, where you grab them and your chats sync together so that you could talk to them. So you grab the mercenary from behind and tell him that you were a bit lonely and kind of.
I say puri puri to them. It's Japanese for soft but gentle. No, soft but firm, or gentle but firm. I can't remember now. Just before snapping their neck. Oh yeah. So anyway, I have been putting up videos, and I wrote on the second to last one that's been put up that people should write more if they want more. So quite a few people have been. So we'll probably end up doing more of that. But that won't be until Monday because you are going on a piss up for 2 nights in a row.
But that's not quite accurate, but yeah.
I didn't say that. I only drank a little bit.
I have a staff Christmas night out a month before Christmas, and I have an engagement party the following day.
Don't get me started on the Christmas party in November. I mean,
yes, it's not my choice, but it's basically free. I'm probably going to walk away with more money than I left with.
Because you're mugging them?
No, we get. They used to give us vouchers that you use behind the bar, but then they started just giving us money. So they put money in an envelope, like a tenner each or something. But then there's wine on the table and stuff. And so, all in all, like you end up. Well, I do because I don't spend any money. I just drink all the wine.
I'll just have a drink of this, drink of this, drink of this.
That's pretty much what happened last year.
To the best of your recollection.
I didn't get that drunk last year. I was relatively well behaved. No, there are people that would put that. No, I don't say would put me. There's people that have severely put me to shame with their activity when they're drunk.
Is there any embarrassing story you'd like to tell, or?
I probably shouldn't, but there have been incidents where people have like flashed their cocks and stuff like that.
Charming. Could you not have found a more polite way of saying that? They brandished their genitalia to an audience of bystanders.
You're talking about like somebody holding a sword. Good day, my lady.
Putting it on display like an auction. I don't know what kind of auction, but never mind. The reason I was bringing up...
Wouldst thou like to polish my brass?
The reason I was bringing up your shameful 2-day drinking spree is because I'm using it as an excuse, because I also won't be playing Revelations over the weekend.
Are you having a 2-day breastfeeding spree?
I was tempted, but I'm instead staying in my gaming cave and becoming a bit Jedi.
All right. Oh, okay.
Because I got into the 4-day long weekend beta test for Old Republic. It's actually not a beta test, really. It's a stress test where they're just trying to see how much of a load the servers can take.
Which, ironically, happens to be over the same 4-day long weekend, Xbox Live free 4-day long weekend that Microsoft put out as well.
I wonder if that's on purpose or not. Or if it's just like a horrible coincidence.
If it's a closed beta that you're in, then obviously it's just a coincidence.
It could also be around Black Friday as well, but who knows? Anyway.
Perhaps Americans get more time off this time of year.
Well, yeah, Black Friday is kind of like the big sale that they do.
That's but that doesn't mean you've got time off.
No, but I mean people...
Anyway.
I want to talk about being a Jedi.
Yeah.
So I've played to about level 7 so far. I was playing it earlier today, just before we started doing this. Has some good CG cutscenes, and the voice acting is pretty good. It's not to BioWare's normal standard, that's for sure, but it's okay.
An MMO, yeah.
It is an MMO, so you have to make exceptions. Plus, it's the start of an MMO, so it's definitely not polished. There's texture popping, and there was a cutscene where a character got reduced to minute size and came strolling along the side of the screen. I got it on film, so when I start putting up footage of the beta, which you're allowed to do because NDA has been lifted, it's a serious cutscene ruined by a midget Jedi walking across the screen.
Did the voice go squeaky?
Sadly not. Oh.
Hello, would you like to see my lightsaber? May the Force be with you.
So the big
the Force.
Stop doing midget voice.
Okay.
I mean little person voice.
All right.
So the big thing about this MMO is, even though it doesn't really look that great, it kind of looks like cartoony mixed with Saints Row 2 is how I've decided it looks.
Almost the Team Fortress sort of style, where it's gone that.
Kind of. It's like painted a bit. It's made so it's clearly made not to require high end kit. So so I think they probably are pitching it as the latest attempt to kill WoW. So they have made it so you don't need a massive PC or anything like that. And the other big thing is a lot of it is voice acted. Not all of it, but most of it. So it's all the main story quest, basically.
I quite like that. I like that, yeah.
Yeah, and the other big thing is it brings in BioWare's other sort of Mass Effect type and Knights of the Old Republic thing where you have moral choices. And they affect how your character progresses. And if you're in a group, you can argue with the people you're grouped with how the situation comes about.
I remember seeing a video that showed that off, and I thought that sounds really interesting because, there's that sort of debate about whether we do, the dark side thing or the light side thing or blah, 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 blah. Then what happens if you end up in a group and they end up swaying it the way that you don't want? Say that you really want to do, you really want to bastard all the way through. You want to kill and fuck everybody.
If I remember...
Instead, they decide to save the day.
Yeah. You still get points, if you were playing as a bastard and they did the right thing, you would get light side points. But I think you get a reduced amount because you wanted the other way.
Just to clarify, I didn't say, when I said kill and fuck everything, I didn't mean actually, any necrophilia there at all.
Yeah, you didn't mean in that order.
No.
Or on the same thing.
No. Mm-hmm. Just making sure that's clear.
Yeah. You decide on a case-by-case basis. Ugh.
With a clipboard.
Even though there is good and bad decisions for the quests, you still have to be on the same side. So obviously you can't party Sith and Jedi together, but you can be Jedi and one happens to be dark side and one happens to be light side.
Huh.
So if you were to play it, you would have to be a Jedi as well, but then you could also be a bastard Jedi, essentially.
Right, that's fine. That's all right.
So I'm not sure if it would be something you're interested in or not. It plays a lot like how I remember WoW being from the very brief time I tried it. And I do have a soft spot for lightsaber battles. It was the one good thing about the original, the newest trilogy. There's about 24 American-based servers and only a dozen or so European ones and only one English one. And when I tried to get on it, it said the wait time was 2 days. So I thought, screw that. And I'm on to the American one. So if anyone else is playing this weekend, or indeed if it opens up again prior to release, I am on the server called Mindtrick.
And
it's
what's
a
your
PvE one. Character
your
name Flick.
Just Flick. F-L-I.
Jedi. Well, right now I'm Padawan Flick because you can put a title on based on your rank. New fancy stuff. I tried to get a friend of mine to play it, although he's left me a message while we're talking now just saying, I got sucked in with the Sith, we'll come looking for you soon, and then he did an evil face.
He's coming to tell you he's your daddy.
Oh, I hope not.
I want to talk a little bit about my Turtle Beach headset, which
Of course.
is featured twice in the podcast now. Once when I got it, when I was bragging about how great it was, and then, months and months later when it decided to die on me. And at that point, I was kind of confused as to whether my computer was dying or whether the headset was broken.
Yeah.
So I sent it away on Sunday, and I got a brand new one today. And that's all I really want to say about it, other than the fact that, because it was covered by warranty and stuff, that was, less than a week from me.
Wait. Let me do a golf clap.
But how often these days do you find that, it's as simple as, I'll just send it back and they will just send me a brand new one?
How do you know it's a brand new one?
Because it was completely sealed in the packaging.
But how do you know it's not a refurbished one that's just been put in the packaging?
The refurbishment procedure is to put it into a plain white box.
Oh, are you making that up, or did you really know?
No,
that?
I read that because I specifically went onto their site to try and find out how to give them good customer feedback. Because I was exceptionally impressed. Just a brand new headset.
Have you tried them yet?
Yes, and it works perfectly.
Good. So that's all you wanted to say about that?
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend Turtle Beach products for anybody out there.
Ka-ching!
They are a little bit expensive, but definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. You will.
Kaplong.
I've got a question to pose to you. Why have they not made a proper beat 'em up or fighting game using either the Kinect or Move or the Wii controls?
I would assume there's too many videos on YouTube of children being knocked unconscious.
Do you think that it's because they don't want people to get into that sort of actually fighting and punching the shit out of the telly or each other?
Oh, well, no,
Or do you think it's because you can't do down to forward B or whatever, or heavy punch or whatever? Is that...
Well, there's that Star Wars Kinect that looks awful in making for the Kinect, where you swing your hands around as if you were holding a lightsaber.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that it's analog, and this is what I'm trying to get at. That the reason why that always looks like it's either scripted or it feels like it's laggy or it just doesn't work is because they tried to make it so that it actually follows the full motion of your hand. But if I'm talking about something where you could do down to forward, but do you know what I mean? You would have to
something like that would work, but it will never be. I don't think.
It just interested me why that it just popped into my head. Why have they not done that yet? I think if someone did it well, it would probably sell really, really well.
You also kind of touched on a thing there at the start when you said brawler and beat 'em up, because what we call one thing, Americans call the other, and it kind of leads to a bit of confusion.
Oh, right, okay.
Street Fighter to me is a beat 'em up.
Yes.
Streets of Rage is a brawler.
Yes.
To Americans, it's the other way around.
Wait, so Streets of Rage is a beat 'em up to them?
Yeah. I did some gameplay videos of Blaze Blue a little while ago, last year in fact, I think, and I called it a beat 'em up in the description saying, oh look, I'm playing this beat 'em up at the moment, so I'm doing some random gameplay, and it's full of insults from Americans saying, why are you calling it a beat 'em up? It's not a beat 'em up, you idiot.
Weird. So jumping on you're talking about getting insults and stuff, there's been a rather big sort of melodrama going on in the gaming world at the moment with Minecraft creator Notch and the guys behind the Ogscast, which I know that I kind of sort of forced you into sort of hearing about it a little bit, but
a little bit, yeah,
a little bit. So if you hadn't heard, Minecon happened recently. It's the first Minecon that they've ever had. To celebrate
Minecraft actually being fully released now.
Fully released, which means we should really go back and play some more of it and stuff.
We probably should now that it's technically done.
They're just going to continue.
They'll be concentrating on scrolls now, but still updating as and when.
Well, I'll talk about scrolls after we finish this little bit here.
All right, okay.
So from what I gathered from like Notch ended up tweeting that the Yogscast people were basically being a bunch of dicks at the convention.
Well,
and
to be clear, first of all, he just said he was tired after he was finished at the convention. Then he muttered, or as much as you can mutter on the internet, he said on Twitter, well, now I know who not to work with again.
Yeah.
And then he was badgered by people to say who he meant, and then he gave in.
Yeah, pretty much.
And upon giving in, he was viciously assaulted, insulted and threatened. So
Now,
then he decided to go
that's still ongoing. He still is actually receiving.
I know he is, because I have now actually by proxy become a victim of it, which I only recently discovered earlier tonight when I bothered to press on Twitter anytime anyone mentioned me. Because the other day there, I went to Notch's page just to read the kind of thing he'd been putting up with, and it is ridiculous, quite frankly.
It is.
The threats and insults of these children with keyboards. So I said, I think it's a shame because the viciousness of it is pathetic. So then when I went to check my ats, I noticed I had one person, well, CR and one other guy retweeted it, and the person who wasn't CR that retweeted it said, yep, the only people who watch that stuff are 8-year-olds, blah, blah, blah. But then I had a few that were complaining, shall we say. So one of them said, you do realise that the Yogcast were approached in person and harassed about this, right? I didn't know that, and I'd also like to know what that has to do with childishly insulting someone else via Twitter.
Yeah, see, the point here isn't that we're trying to say who's right and who's wrong. I wasn't there, you weren't there. You know, we don't know exactly what happened. You've just got the two sides that have said, like, you know, it seems...
was childishly going over to their page or whatever and constantly insulting them, then fine, but he's not.
Yeah, exactly. So the fans shouldn't be doing the...
Someone else said, has their supporters DDoSed Minecraft.net in response? Has Notch been badgered by mental Yogcast fans in real life yet? Again, no to either, but how does that justify threatening him, insulting him, being childish towards him? These people aren't using correct logic.
No, they're not.
But that said, there are plenty of childish Minecraft fans because it is a child-friendly game, which is the main sticking point that Notch had with the convention.
Yes, I see. But
actually, what the presentation?
The panel, the question panel.
Sorry, the panel. I mean the panel. Yes,
I didn't. No,
I did. Well, as much as I could, I got bored. But there was a video that was laced with swearing, and that could have been bleeped beforehand. So that was everybody's fault. Well, apart from the YogPods people, in fact, you could probably say that wasn't down to them because they assumed it was fine. Now, the other thing Notch had a problem with was them swearing at the audience at the panel and afterwards. And their line of it was basically, well, what did you expect? We swear in our videos all the time. You didn't tell us we couldn't, which is true. So the onus is on Notch there, technically. But if it were me, even if I was speaking to a child who'd been exposed to swearing all their life, even if every morning their mother said fuck off to them when they came down for their breakfast.
What planet is this? Is this
this is
the land of Tilly-Kutri, where children are told to get the fuck out of the house, bring back some cocaine.
I was going to say Glasgow, but thank you for that. Yeah, Glaswegian children are often told to fuck off by their parents.
That's true, actually.
So even if it was that child, even if they had grown up surrounded by swearing and they swore at me, I still would not swear at them because I know how to be professional.
Yes, yeah. No, I get that.
I would have thought that is why Notch got annoyed, because he is also a professional. And he didn't kindly to, even if it in a joking manner, swearing at them.
One thing that I think like they may possibly, now this is maybe jumping at straws here, but
jumping at straws?
Jumping at straws. Jumping to conclusions and clutching straws all at the same time.
I see.
My favourite clip from one of the Yogscast podcasts. I'll openly admit here that while I did watch their videos, and I am subscribed to them on YouTube, I don't watch that many these days. I was a bigger fan of their podcasts.
Which don't do anymore because those don't make money.
No. There's one where it's like a J.K. Rowling sort of skit, I suppose. And there's a bit where he pretends to be J.K. Rowling and tells a kid to fuck off, and he does it in a way that's amusing and stuff. And I'm wondering whether or not that sort of thing was
that was the thing in question,
redone live because somebody had asked for it, and then maybe somebody had like misinterpreted it or something. I don't know. but
It's possible. The thing is, when there's two different opinions regarding the same event and you weren't there, the only way to get to the truth is to try and find an accusation made on one side that isn't rebutted by the other, because then you can probably assume it's true.
yeah.
So Notch kind of said that they demanded money. They kind of said, we didn't demand money, we asked if you could help us, which is kind of two different ways of saying the same thing. So that's kind of accurate.
Yeah. So moving swiftly on from that bit of drama, we're kind of approaching the point where Scrolls is going to get released. Did you watch any of the interviews with that?
No, I don't watch any of their videos anymore. They bore me.
Scrolls, in case you haven't been following, is one of these sort of collector's card sort of battling games like Magic the Gathering or that Shadow Era that I've been playing on my phone and stuff. But
I wasn't aware it was almost out. Where did you find this?
Not by almost out, but like there was a build at Minecon for people to see and stuff like that. And they basically go on the premise that once it's actually fun to play, then they'll release it like they did with Minecraft, where it's not going to be a full release, but it's going to move up. It seems kind of interesting. They've got like a different slant on the way that the card game plays, that it's almost kind of card game, kind of board game sort of thing, where you have like cells on a board, almost like a chessboard, I suppose. And at the back, you've got like your sort of towers, and you've got to kill the other person's towers with your units, and you can block them with cards and stuff. Well, they call them scrolls instead of cards, but that'll never catch on.
No.
And it seems kind of interesting, but they've decided that like while you can still earn more cards in game and doing things like that, they've added microtransactions for it.
Oh no!
So you can buy your way into better cards and stuff, which is just horrible.
That put me right off. I was about to say I was quite interested. I wanted to go find screenshots now, but that's kind of...
You can still get everything without paying any more than the initial cost of the game, but
you would be at a disadvantage until then from people who are willing to pay the money.
Well, possibly, yeah.
Possibly. But other than that, did it actually look interesting?
It does look and it does sound interesting. If you like card game thingies, then it might be interesting. And again, there's going to be a free version of it like there was with Minecraft, so you can try it before you buy it.
I typed in scrolls into Google to try and find some pictures of it, and it's just pictures of scrolls.
Not Skyrim stuff.
There is an Oblivion box there, but it is mostly just pictures of ye old scrolls opened up.
Going completely off on tangent.
Yes, let's stop plugging them.
I said earlier on that we didn't have any emails or any messages or anything.
Yeah.
Mid podcast, I've received one.
Do you know why that is?
Why?
You have me to thank for that.
Why did you?
Because while you were blathering away about breastfeeding 8-year-olds,
Whoa! Rephrase that. I do not breastfeed 8-year-olds. Thank you very much. Your stick.
Yet.
That's not.
In fact, exactly an hour ago, I wrote on my page, recording a podcast right now, questions at, and then give your address.
So what name are you going to go with this time?
Oh, for God's sake.
How are you going to pick it?
McMuffin's Noodle Mick.
McMuffin's Noodle Mick has asked, if we were stuck on a desert island with only one game to play till the end of your days, what would it be and why? I've got the one I would always pick for this one is Civilization. Probably, I'm still going to go with Civ 2.
You never did play the newest one, did you, Civ? Is it 4 or 5?
The PC I had at the time wouldn't have ran it.
We kept on trying to get you to get it, but then we kept on getting distracted by other things, as is normally the way.
Maybe during this gaming lull I can pick it up and we can have that.
Especially if it's in that sale that Steam's doing right now, which people should probably check out if they want to get.
That's a good idea. I noticed that Fallout New Vegas was on there for about £4, by the way.
Yeah, which is... even if it doesn't have all the DLC, that's still ridiculous.
I couldn't see if it did, but yeah.
Yeah, so if I was on a desert island, is there a video game about surviving on a desert island?
Minecraft. That's a good answer, because you would have infinite time to create, and when you were feeling particularly malicious, you could kill things and
You could
destroy.
create a replica of the island you're stuck on and create a big tower, climb to the top, and jump off. That's what I would do.
By which point you'd have like, blurred the lines of like reality to the point where you'd probably just find yourself with your head in the sand.
Probably. And rather than going crazy and talking to a beach ball with a smeared face on it, I'd be talking to my character in Minecraft.
Going...
Yeah, scaring it. Although, really, if I wanted one game, this might link in something I want to talk about, actually. My favourite RPG of all time is Xenogears, which is never going to be on the PSN for our region because it was never ever released here. It was only released in Japan and America, so I am going to buy it off of the American PSN quite soon, during Christmas, so I can play that during the lull in gaming between now and March. So I would want that because it's a ridiculously long, very well done RPG with sort of a very strong philosophical story that also kind of lifts from quite a few religions as well.
I played it, but I don't think I ever managed to finish it because like I never owned it. I just played
it. It is one of those things that once you've played it through once, you really can't play it again for a little while because it is so text heavy.
Ah, right, okay.
It was done years ago, PS1 era, so no voice acting, etc. Other than bad dubbed cutscenes, anime cutscenes.
Yep. So other than that, he's also asked if we have any plans on that Dead Island wrap. Thought you'd escaped it, did you? Or the survival DLC that's just been released?
Someone asked us for more Dead Island videos, so I think we probably will do one or two of the Arena DLC.
But there's no point in going back and doing any more of the campaign because we've done it. We've done it to death. We did 50-odd fucking videos of it.
47
videos. How many more times do you want to see us go into the sewers? Really? Or any more bugs? Or
Star Trek fans will be proud that we did 47 parts.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Now, this is very interesting. I don't know whether you'll get this, but...
No, hang on. First of all, I just want to point out, you're going to get the Arena DLC for free because you have the pre-order edition, which I gave to you.
Because you didn't give me. I bought it off you. Get it right.
But you bought it after release, so technically, had you gone into a shop, it wouldn't have been that version. Because it was after I bought my own copy that I got offered the review copy. So I don't think I'll have to buy it. So...
What you're trying to tell me is that I should stump up half the price of the DLC.
I wasn't, but now that you mention it, that was a really good idea.
Oh, God.
That's like the first idea good I had. I'll consider that payment for the Skull House idea. What you should do is have the Skull House, then get married to some NPC and force them to live in
to live in the Skull House.
And then I don't know if it's possible to have a child in it, but then have a child in there and see what happens.
I'll probably get arrested or moved to Austria.
Possibly.
He does actually put another two things in this email.
Wait, I've remembered another Skyrim thing. One of the Bethesda developers, got into an argument with someone on Twitter because they criticised the fact that, like in New Vegas and Fallout 3, you can't murder children.
Yes. There's a mod for that now. There
is now a mod for that, and I was just curious what your thoughts were on that.
My thoughts? Well, yes. I don't know. I can see that some people want that whole free roaming element where you should be able to do it, but at the same time, why would you want to do it? Why would you feel that you needed to do it?
In Fallout 3, there's one with a particularly foul mouth that I really wish I could have killed.
I mean, okay, sure, there are times where it might be amusing or whatever, but the problem is that the gaming gets enough of a backlash about like violence and things like that. There's no need to add any more fuel to the fire for that little bit of extra freedom within the game. So I don't think it's really that big a deal to me.
That is one angle that I kind of lean towards, but the other angle I do lean towards also is why are children considered sacred when you can murder as many adults as you like?
Because they are. It's supposed to be ingrained into your human. I'm trying to think what it is. Your
maternal instincts.
Yeah, exactly. You're supposed to think that you're supposed to be protecting them.
There's such a good idea. Get one of those mothers that has an 8-year-old that still gets breastfed. Give them Skyrim with the child killing mod and force them to do it. They'll learn. That'll teach them.
I don't see the logic there.
It teaches them to let go of their maternal instincts. They might
All right,
actually kill
okay.
their kid for real, but
It's a small price to pay.
one way or the other, they'll stop the breastfeeding. This podcast is not being called. This podcast is not being called breastfeeding. I'm vetoing that right now.
Oh, that is
You are
wrong.
not calling this.
You are not
Call it-
right in the head, boy.
So anyway, you said he had 2 more points.
He has 2 other points. What's the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Now, do you get the reference?
Nope.
No,
I'm
but-
going to Google it though.
It's a Monty Python reference.
I never watched any Monty Python.
Holy- It's Monty
I
Python and
watched-
the Holy Grail.
I've actually seen that one though. Damn.
And the last thing that he asks is your choice of weapon in a zombie apocalypse, which I think that's quite an interesting question. I've never heard that before. What would you use? What would be your...
You see, this is where my OCD kicks in, and I have to know what type of outbreak it is. Is it one where you can get infected, like if you just get a little bit of blood on you, or do
No,
they have to eat you?
I'm going to go with the one where you have to have... blood has to get into your system, not on you. So you have to, like,
Right.
if you got scratched and blood got in, then that would be you.
Well, then it would have to be a ranged weapon of some kind. Nuclear bomb.
That's cheating. That's not...
Oh, okay, we're not allowed to cheat in that case.
Let's say it has to be something that you would physically be able to get your hands on. So you're not going to be able to talk about a carbine rifle or...
Yeah, right. Well, not a carbine rifle, but I do have access to rifles.
Yeah, well...
My grandfather was a hunter, so he has a...
So you still go with the gun. You wouldn't go with the katana on the wall behind you.
No, because it's not sharp.
They'd still hurt.
Yeah, but I wouldn't cut flesh. It's not. That's the whole point. It's a decorative one. It's not an actual katana.
You can't
The
even
metal's too
sharpen
thick
those.
for a
can you?
start. No, the metal it's made of is too thick. Deliberately so you can't do that.
Yep.
So no, I wouldn't do that because if there was a risk of infection at range. So I'd do as I do in most games, is just kind of go the sniper route. If I can't have my nuclear bomb. What about you?
You need to stick like a scope on your nuclear bomb so you can increase your accuracy.
Snipe with my nuke.
No, the most obvious durable thing that I would have to hand in this place would actually
Cat.
be...
Cat.
No, a cat wouldn't be very durable. It has low durability.
I was thinking of a pussy joke there, but I better not. Carry on.
No, it would probably end up being my guitar. That would be
Well-
the most damaging durable thing that I have to, other than like driving a car around.
It would crush a skull, that's for sure, yes,
would.
if you swung it hard enough.
It would, and then when you got bored, you could
What-
stop and play it for a bit.
Well, yeah, but then if you might cut a callus on your finger and then the blood would get in and then you'd be... Yeah.
Yeah. So,
We're far too much thought into this.
so you would go with one of your uncle or no, your grandpa's
Grandfathers.
guns,
Yes, why not?
and I would go with a guitar.
You could play some epic music while I snipe.
I can't play any epic music.
I did want to mention briefly that the Dark Souls patch is out for us finally. So I was wondering if you were planning on going back to it or not.
Probably not. Not just now, anyway.
I'm still not sure if I can be bothered after playing good RPGs.
I might go back at some point, but at the moment, like, you know, the Skyrim, I've got Assassin's Creed to go through and stuff, and to be honest, like,
It's not very good, so there's not really any drive to do it.
Demon Souls was a really good game, and they did a lot of things right. They might have got a couple of things wrong. I didn't think that Dark Souls made enough improvements on it to warrant me really going back and playing it that much, to be perfectly honest. I don't even have any enthusiasm talking about it. It's just like...
Well, we can quickly move on to a topic I wanted to kind of use as our wrap-up topic for this one.
Okay.
Unless you have anything else.
No,
you want to put first.
nope, it's fine.
Well, that sneeze for prosperity will be in there.
You keep saying prosperity. That's
Prosperity.
like to get extra wealth and stuff. That's like
I mean posterity. Yes, I know I do. It's like that mistake I keep on making when I say stop and start instead of start and stop. No, wait, I did it right there, didn't I? God damn it. Every time we're recording a match of Revelations and I finish it because he records the audio of us talking while I record the gameplay, I always say it wrong.
because it's far too difficult for you to record both.
No, well, yes, it is because I have to press on one and then press on the other.
Oh no! Whereas I have to fanny about down the back of the TV. So
Plus, my connection
over.
might not necessarily handle that. We don't know.
Quite,
Never
quite
tried.
possibly. Anyway,
Yeah, so yes, getting back to what I was saying, next time, I know it's not going to be quite the end of the year yet, but if we consider that we'll both probably be doing stuff come the latter half of December, the next podcast we do might have to be maybe our Christmas / end of the year one. So I thought we might do some award type stuff.
yeah,
Because everybody does awards like
yeah,
Game of the Year.
yeah.
So we might prepare a few of our own, like Game of the Year, maybe biggest disappointment, stuff like that. But if anyone had any suggestions of an award they'd want us to pick a game for, I don't know, like most overused number in a sequel, for example, some stupid thing, or
Yeah, anything will do as long as it's at least gaming related slightly.
well, it has to be gaming related because otherwise we can't associate it with a game.
Right.
But
Okay. Well, the Bringo Hearty 2011 awards. Pick some categories and stuff, and we'll try to figure it out. So
most children killed.
most
Game that got Flick most annoyed. Dark Souls. Maybe. Actually, no, that might be a contested one.
most breasts suckled.
I knew you were going to go there. That's why I did.
So yeah, if you can think of any categories that you want to add, send them to bringohearty@gmail.com.
Or just comment on this if you're watching on YouTube. We'll see it then as well.
Are we wrapping up then?
I think we are, yes.
I think we are. So yes, my Skyrim playthrough is continuing to go up, and that's on YouTube at Blighty Warrior. You're still putting up Assassin's Creed multiplayer footage, some Disgaea stuff at the moment.
Yeah, we'll need to record some more Revelations. So
Yeah.
the Disgaea stuff is going to be probably once a week now because that'll be or once every couple of weeks when it actually gets released on PSN.
And you're probably going to see some of this Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'll
that'll
be
be up
rendering
on,
that later on.
and that'll be Flick FFXI.
Yeah. And please don't comment about how my character looks in it because there was no decent haircuts.
And please don't talk about boobies.
You ended there, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Well, you should.